Before the first sound, before the first light, before any word was ever spoken, there was awareness. And that awareness whispered one eternal truth: I am. Those two words hold everything: life, consciousness, love, existence itself. When Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life, he wasn't claiming something special for himself. He was revealing the presence behind all of us, the infinite breath of God moving as you, as me, as every living thing. But across centuries, those words were misunderstood. They became verses to memorize, not realities to experience. Humanity began worshiping the messenger instead of awakening to the message. And so the voice of I am, that divine heartbeat within each soul, was buried beneath prayer, fear, and separation. But it never died. It waits, always waits, for the moment you remember. Because I am isn't a phrase. It's your true name. It's not something to repeat. It's something to realize. Have you ever noticed that all your searching, all your striving, all your prayers end in the same feeling? A quiet longing that never leaves. That longing isn't emptiness. It's the presence knocking from within, asking to be recognized. This is the teaching Joel S. Goldsmith devoted his life to, that the same I am which spoke through Jesus speaks now through you. The same presence that healed the sick and calmed storms is alive as the consciousness that says, I. The world says, pray harder, try more, reach higher. But the mystic says, be still and know, because you don't have to reach for what you already are. When you say, I am tired, or I am afraid, you are using the name of God to declare limitation. But when you say, I am peace, I am whole, I am light, you awaken the very presence that spoke creation into being. This isn't positive thinking, it's divine remembrance. There was a woman named Margaret who came to Joel Goldsmith many years ago. She had been sick for years, praying daily for healing. Her prayers were desperate, emotional, and exhausting. She told Joel, I've begged God for mercy, but he doesn't answer. Joel looked at her gently and asked one question. Who is the I that says, I am sick? She stared at him, confused. He asked again, can the spirit that created galaxies be sick? Can God suffer? Something in her broke open. That night, she sat in silence and stopped praying for healing. She just listened. Days later, the pain began to fade. Weeks later, her body started to restore itself. Not because she got something new, but because she stopped denying what had always been true. That's the mystery of the I am. It's not about becoming, it's about remembering. Every problem we face, fear, sickness, lack, arises from one illusion, the belief that we are separate from God. But how could you be separate from your own breath? You breathe, but it's not you doing it. Something greater breathes you. That's the I am, the eternal breath. When you realize this, your relationship with life changes completely. You stop asking, how will this work out? You start trusting that it already has. Robert, a man drowning in financial loss, once came to Joel, desperate for help. He said, I pray every day and nothing changes. Joel replied, you pray to God. Why not pray as God? Robert was stunned. Joel told him, start your day with silence. Don't ask for supply. Recognize that you are the supply of God expressing. So Robert began. He didn't beg. He just rested, repeating softly, I am the activity of abundance. Weeks later, new opportunities appeared. His business didn't just recover, it transformed. But the true miracle wasn't the money. It was that fear dissolved. Because once you recognize who you are, fear loses its foundation. That's the power of I am. You don't attract what you want, you reveal what you are. When Jesus healed, he didn't plead with a distant deity. He recognized what was already true. I am the resurrection and the life. He wasn't hoping for a miracle. He was living as the presence that performs them. You can do the same. When the body feels pain, don't say, I am sick. Say instead, the body shows symptoms, but I am life itself. When the mind says, I am alone, remember, I am is love unfolding as my existence. You see, suffering begins when we mistake temporary appearances for eternal reality. You are not what happens. You are the presence that witnesses it. Every time you pause and remember I am, you step out of the dream of struggle and back into the stillness of being. That stillness is the eternal breath, moving through you, loving through you, living as you. There was a nurse named Elise who worked in hospice care. Every night she went home in tears, overwhelmed by suffering. One day she read Goldsmith's words, "Love the presence, not the appearance." That evening, she sat beside a dying patient and whispered within, I am here. She didn't try to heal. She didn't pray for comfort. She simply recognized the divine presence in the room. The patient opened his eyes and smiled, peaceful for the first time in days. Elise said later, it was as if the air changed. I realized I wasn't bringing God into that room. God was already there. That's the miracle of awareness. Not that God comes when we call, but that we awaken to the fact God never left. Every situation in your life, whether pain or joy, is an invitation to remember this. When storms rise, remember, the wind moves, but the air remains. You are that still air, unmoved, unbroken, unchanging. Joel Goldsmith called it the pause. He said, when fear appears, don't fight it. Pause. Let God take over. In that pause, everything shifts. Because you are no longer reacting as a person, you are responding as presence. That's what it means to live as the I am. To walk through the world not as a seeker, but as the silent witness through which God sees. You'll still feel emotions. You'll still live a human story. But you'll know, beneath it all, something timeless watches. And that watcher is you. When you live from that awareness, love stops being something you give or get. It becomes your natural state. You love not someone. You love through someone. You see God wearing every face. One woman once told Joel, I've been hurt so deeply I can't forgive. Joel said, then stop trying. The I that forgives is not the one that was hurt. Let God forgive himself through you. And in that surrender, forgiveness happened on its own. Because the divine never forgives, it only sees perfection. When you look at life through I am consciousness, the impossible becomes inevitable. You stop controlling outcomes, and grace begins to flow. That's what grace truly is. The effortless activity of God realized as your consciousness. You don't earn it. You don't summon it. You simply stop interfering with it. The human mind plans. Spirit allows. The ego asks, what if? The presence whispers, I am. All your life you've been trying to do something spiritual. But the truth is, spirituality begins when you stop trying. In the silence between your thoughts, in the breath before your words, there it is. The I am, the eternal breath, the presence that lives your life more perfectly than you ever could. And every story, every prayer, every practice leads back to this one truth. You are not separate from God. You are the way God appears. So pause now. Breathe. And as you exhale, feel these words not as sounds, but as remembrance. I am. Because that's the first and final truth. The Alpha and the Omega, the eternal breath that has been living you all along. When you remember this, you stop surviving and start living. You stop seeking and start being. You stop asking, where is God? And begin smiling, realizing, I am that I am. So now, let's be still together. No effort, no belief, no separation, just presence. Just the silent breath of God being itself, as you. If this truth stirred something within you, it wasn't emotion, it was memory. The soul remembering its source, the heart remembering its origin, the breath remembering eternity. Comment below, I am the eternal breath. Subscribe to Legacy Igniter for more teachings inspired by Joel S. Goldsmith and the Infinite Way. Each film, each reflection, each word here is not information, it's transformation. Stay awake. Stay still. You are not becoming divine. You are remembering the divinity you never lost. And if this video spoke to your soul, you can tap the Super Thanks button to support the channel and help share this light with more awakening hearts around the world.